Layim, Shakayach, and Jack Mermelstein in memory of Jack's father, Harry Mermelstein. So we were finishing up. I'd like to ideally finish Palgin and Dibura today. So let's just finish up the Tosfos. So Tosfos is struggling with that Gemara in Makis. Do we have a copy? Yeah, we have the copy of the Gemara in Makis. Shkayach. So the Gemara, so Tosfos says, so in light of our Gemara, we really have to relearn that Gemara in Makis, which is a fundamental Gemara discussing when you become an aid. And the Gemara had a Havamina that every Nirtzach and every Horeg, every Rotzeach, and the same thing by Roveya and Nirba could potentially invalidate the group and invalidate any future testimony. So Tosfos says, Hada Parich, it's the middle of Tosfos Dirascha L'Irtzono, 3 lines down from the wide lines. Hada Parich Perakama de Makis. And that which the Gemara asks in Makis, Nirba Yatzil, the Gemara says that the one who was involved in the relations was either the raped or if it was the seduced, that he should be able to save because he's watching the whole process and he's a puzzle aid. Ein lefarish yatzil afishu pasal machmas shesone haroveya sherova leronso. Don't say that the reason why he's puzzle is because what? Is because he's a sone, he hates the person that was just raping him. Shekacha yunil lefarish, because I would have explained like that. Dumya daharag yatzil. Just like the Gemara suggests, parallel, that not only in the situation of Roveya and Nirba should the Nirba yatzil, but also should the Harug be yatzil. So Tosfos says, obviously the Harug, the only reason a person who's dying and stabbed, that's watching the case, that is going to invalidate the aid is what psul is he carrying with him. Tosfos says the obvious answer is that he hates the Rotzeach that just killed him. It can't be, because our Gemara assumes that when you are talking about being raped, that you're valid to talk about such a case, and you're not excluded, and you're not puzzle, according to Rava. Ve'ein sono kamo harug. And what's the reason, says Tosfos? Because the hatred that a person has for being raped is not the hatred that a person has for losing his life and being killed. Interesting, Tosfos makes a distinction, but Tosfos is assuming, this is what we ended off with last week, that there is some sort of psul, sone that exists. Just Roveya doesn't make the cut. Nirba doesn't make the cut. But when you're actually murdered, you do make the cut in those few seconds that you're still alive, watching the story unfold. So we asked last week, what do you mean? This is all in Rabbi Yehuda's world. We don't paskin that a sone is puzzle. We hold kosher lo diber imo shlosha yamim is still kosher chachamim. Lo nechshedu Yisrael al kach chachamim say in the third parak. So we introduce the Ktos that quotes the Marshal that he says, no, there's something called a Sone Gomer. There's a hatred that comes out of a murder case that's such an unbelievable hatred that even the Rabbanon would agree to such a concept and such a hatred would exist. And we just raise the Shaila, if that's true, so then the reverse should be true as well. So if you have an Oev Gomer, if you have a best friend that would give your life for someone else, and you mamish love him deeply, so maybe you shouldn't honor him to be the Eid Kedushin at your wedding, because just like the Marshal says, that according to Rabbi Yehuda, a Sone Gomer is accepted both according to Rabbi Yehuda and Rabbanon, so too, Oev Gomer might be the same, unless you want to distinguish between Sone and Oev, because on the books we only have Tosfos that says it by Sone. V'oid, says Tosfos, and I'm going to differentiate between the two even further. The Haru Gufe, Motzinu Lefarish, Deloy Mifsol Machmasina. And also, the reason why a Nirba is puzzle over there is not because of Sinah. Why would I have said so? Tosfos says, because I would have linked it to a Neharag, to a Nirtzach. Says Tosfos, we got the whole thing wrong. The reason why a Nirtzach is puzzle is not because of Sinah. If so, that's very good. Why? Because then we can go back to the normative halacha. Rabbanon hold against Rabbi Yehuda, a Sone's kosher leidus. And therefore we don't even have to get into the story of last week with the Ktos and the Marshal, we're consistent with how we paskin that every Sone is kosher le'edus. Lo nechshedu Yisrael al kach. Bein sinna of not speaking to a guy for 3 days, a little fight. Bein sinna of being murdered. So why are you puzzle? Says Taisus, I'll tell you why you're puzzle. You have a psul guf. You don't have the ability to what? To be an aid because you're a treifa. It's not edus sha'ata yochol lazima. How am I going to be Makayim kasher zamam on your edus? You're already a dead man. You're a walking dead man. You're a treifa. Ve'eno roi lahoid. V'nir lefarish. V'nir lefarish. Oh, so that's Tosfos. That's what Tosfos says. So Tosfos says, why is a nirtzach possible? Again, the Gemara in Makis. Let's look at the Gemara. The Gemara says, Amar popular Abaye, unbelievable Gemara. Elimiyata harag yatzil. Every guy who's murdered should save the cat because he's an invalid aid. Kishahargo me'achorv. So the Gemara says, no, kishahargo me'achorv. It's talking about where he stabbed him in the back. Nirba yatzil. So the Gemara says, Nirba yatzil. So the Gemara says same kasha. He's watching the case. No, kisharava me'achorov. He also did it from behind. Horigu v'rovei yatzilu. So the actual rotseach and the roveya, the person who's committing the crimes. So then he gets stuck, and ultimately the Gemara comes on to the concept of b'mekayme adavar akasav adavar, which is a very, very earth-shattering conclusion of depending and now changing the whole definition of an aid potentially. So Tosfos is bothered. What was the Gemara's havamina? So Tosfos is saying, well, nirba, maybe it's a sones. Tosfos says it can't be because it doesn't work with our Gemara. Well, nerag is also puzzle. So Tosfos says that's a sone, and then Tosfos says, wait, no. Maybe nerag and nirtzach is also puzzle because he's a treifa. Oh, so now Tosfos says, V'nir lefarish dahasam minirba l'ritzono. Tosfos says, don't ask me kashas from our Gemara to that Gemara. Because that Gemara is only talking about in one case where you were consenting and you were invalid. And if you're nirba l'ritzono, so even Rava agrees that you're pasal edus. Rava was only saying you're kosher by nirba l'onso. The Afagav del Rava kosher hasam iri sheyesh edim shenir b'lertzono. And even though Rava says palgin and dibura in our Gemara, and even if I say ploni ravani lertzoni, you could still accept my testimony to kill that guy. Says Tosfos, that's not a contradiction to that Gemara. Even nir b'lertzono, we should never put him to death. We should never invalidate him. Says Tosfos, no. Every nir b'lertzono is still pasal edus. It's just if you are the only source that you were no nir b'lertzono, so we don't have to accept your edus. But let's say there were two edim from the side that saw the case and watched you and your friend being roveya and nirba and consenting to the aveira. Both of you are pasal. So Tosfos says the whole Gemara in Makos is referring to a case where there's yesh edim shenir b'lertzono. That's not similar to our case. Our case of Rava is what? Your whole testimony, you walk in with someone else, and you're the only source we have with that other person. Ploni ravani lertzoni. So Tosfos says, even though technically you should become pasal, palgina dibura, and we don't accept your words about yourself. But if there were two edim that witnessed your Maisa with the Roveya and the Nirba, so Avad your pasal. So that's the Gemara Makkah, Nirba Yatzil, that he will become pasal. And that's what Tosfos has been concluding, that a Nirba Lertzono, even according to Rava, would actually be pasal Eidos. Because of Russia, because of Russia the Chamas, like we talked about in the weeks past. So that's the way you're going to have to read the Gemara. And that's what Tosfos says. Sheish Eidim Shenirba Lertzono, the Azin Aroy Lahoid, Vavi Nimtzeh Echad Mi'em pasal Veidusam Betela. The Kakasha, the cave in the Menir Beler Tzoner Ira Bechinam Nakat Libesoiv Horeg Verovea Yatzil Perish Yatzilu Al Atzman the Menir Beler Tzoner the Marbe have a Matzil Mifra Kakatish Yatzil As Atzmo. Tosfos says that's a difficult shot. If it's talking about a Nir Beler Tzono, so then effectively you're just repeating the same question. Again, Nirba Yatzil, so what's the Gemara's question? Nirba who's Pasal Eidos, he should save and invalidate the edus and save who? Save who? So now we're saying save himself because he's a nirba l'rtzono. So he also, the edus has ramifications legabe whether he's going to get put to death, right? But if he's a nirba la'ones, so then no, it's yatzil aroveya, like you're saying. So now Tosfos says, but if I'm saying it's a nirba l'rtzono, so then why is the Gemara going through the same song and dance in the next line and saying, Roveya Yatzil, Yatzil who? Yatzil himself. It's the same exact question that we asked with Nirba. So therefore Tosfos says it would have been better if I went with my first shot to understand that it's going Nirba La'onis, but then I'm stuck with this Gemara. So Tosfos says, V'yesh Mefarshim Demeharog V'nirba Kishehem kroivim parach. Says Tosfos is a brand new pshat in the Gemara. What happens if the whole situation, the reason where you're going to be matzil over here is not because a nirba is puzzle, and maybe it was a nirba ba'ones, maybe, and the reason you're going to be matzil is not because of sone and not because of any other the psulin. What's the reason? Because you're a karuf to the person that just seduced you or that just raped you. You happen to be a relative. And that was the background to the whole Gemara there of Yatzil. The Gemara never says anything about this. But Tosfos says maybe, because of our questions, maybe you have to understand that what did the Gemara assumed you to be? An invalid aid must have been that in the background of the story, you were actually a relative to the guy who was committing the Avera. The Yesh version to me, Harag v'nirba kishem krovim parach, the Yatzil. Maybe in those cases, the Gemara is asking, it should be matzil. So then the obvious question is, okay, maybe it is matzil. I don't know. How do you know that when you rape a karov, that it wouldn't be? Maybe where's the Gemara's question coming? Yatzil. As if the Gemara knows that you're going to be put to death. V'chitei ma'hachanami, as Tosfos, so say enachanami, that you would save, and you're an invalid aid in such a scenario. Tosfos says it can't be. Haksiv be make aviv v'imo. Afal pishu karov v'nir banamiksiv er vasavicha. The Pasuk in Parshas Acharei Mos talks about having relations, and in such a situation, the father's put to death. So therefore, it has to be that there's an answer to this case of even rape by the son, or by the child, or by the karov. That even in those situations, you're not going to be considered an aid to invalidate the aidus, because we have psukim in the Torah that say mosiumas in such a scenario. That if a father kills, or if a father rapes, in those situations, or the krovim, even though the nirba is a relative, even though the narag is a relative, even in those situations, it's not going to invalidate.
I don't say it's a xeris and
All those cases.
I guess the fact that the Pasuk points out that this family related.
Why did the Gemara and Makkos have a kasha? Just say it's Xeris HaKosov. I guess the Gemara just didn't have any ration. The Gemara just, I guess, assumed that it was working with the regular rules and regulations. So if you look in the Tosfos over there, a very small Tosfos in Makkos, Elamiata Harag Yatzil, there's another daya that's quoted in Tosfos that's not found in our Tosfos. Elamiata Harag Yatzil. Again, the guy who was murdered, in the few minutes that he's still alive, right, he should now invalidate all the testimony. It says Tosfos, Perish, Shehu Baldin. Inami mipnei shu sone upasol le'edus. You have it, Adi?
Yes, we have it here.
I'm sorry.
That's the Balgover.
So look at Tosfos. Tosfos says, Dira Maskal Elamiyata, the short Tosfos is a one-liner.
Which one again?
The smallest Tosfos on the daf.
5 lines on the
10 seconds Tosfos. Elamiyata Harug Yatzil. What's the Havamina of the Gemara that you're puzzle out being a Harug? Says Tosfos, Perishu Baldin. Inami, that's what Tosfos says, Bibdeshu Sone Usone Puzzle Eidus. So that's the daya that sticks with Sone the second day. But what's the first daya? First daya is that you're a Baldin. What does it mean you're a Baldin? What does it mean you're a Baldin? I understand Baldin in a case of Dine Maminus. there's a case against me. They want to be mechayev me $1,000. I want to defend myself and say I'm not chayev $1,000. So I'm a baldin over there. I'm one of the balei dinim. It's no gay to me, as is a serious negias over here. A baldin legabe ritzicha? What does that mean? So apparently, Tosfos is holding there a big chiddush that. Let me ask you the following shaila. This is a shaila that's in Shulchan Aruch. Look at the Mordechai. Let's turn to the Mordechai. Where's this Mordechai? 1 second. Oh. It's in the Mordechai. In my Gemara, it's in Daf Gimel in the Mordechai. It's Simin Tov Reish Tzad Yehei. The Mordechai is found in the back after the Rif, after the Mukti Yosef, all the way in the back. So I'll just tell you the Mordechai outside while you're looking for it. Mordechai raises the following shaila. A guy was murdered. And as shocking as it sounds, we don't have the ability for the person who was murdered to come to Beis Din and be an aid. The Gemara's Makas's question. But now you have a different question. We want the Krovei HaNirtzach to testify about the murder. Are they Karov? Are they Psulim or not? So the Mordechai says, since the Psul of a Nirtzach in the Gemara's Havamin and Makas that it said Nerag Yatzil was all based on what? Based on Treifa? Why should that invalidate the Krovei HaNirtzach? They don't have a problem of a Treifa. They're not dying. They don't have the psul of Eideshat Iyat Yochel Azima because they're a treifa, because they're about to die. And that's the psak of the Ramah in Shulchan Aruch, in Siman Lamed Vav. However, the Gra, at the bottom of that the Ramah, when he quotes the Mordechai, he says, Ayin Tosfos Imakis Davav and Aleph Deya Kamaisa. What does that mean? Ayin Tosfos Imakis Davav and Aleph Deya Kamaisa. There's another reason that the Rishonim thought to invalidate a Harug when he was going to watch the case in the Havamin of the Gemara that thought that he stands as an aid at that point in time. What was the reason that they were going to invalidate him? Not because of Treifa, not because of Sone, but because of what? Because he's a Baldin. If he's a Baldin, so then even his Krovim can't testify. And this is a machloikis between the Goyin and the Ramah La'alacha. Whether or not, what's the pshat in the Havamin of the Gemara of Nirtzach Yatzil, even though that Gemara never lands itself lemaskana, because obviously he's never going to come to court and he's not an aid, whatever reason. However, you learn the Maskonas Gemara to learn why he's not a valid aid, because b'makaimei adover akosim edaber, either he's never going to talk, or he's an osa maisa, he's about. But the Gemara thought for a second that there was a psul that existed. Now that's going to have ramifications legabe his krovim. Are you just a karov to a treifa, or are you karov to a baldin? If you're a karov to a baldin, because he's involved in the case, so therefore what? Therefore, you would be puzzled. But again, so that's fascinating. It's a fascinating diin la'alacha whether or not the krovei or nirtzach will be invalid. And Rabbi say, this is more common than not. I mean, who are the people that are obviously going to be there at the time of the murder? Very likely it's sometimes going to be family members. Well, are they going to be puzzled or not? But how do we envision and how can we explain a baldin over here? What does it mean you're a baldin? Baldin usually means you have something that's relevant to you, something that's shaykh to you, something that you have a negias, you have some sort. What does it mean, baldin?
That 1 second, you owe me
Oh, you owe me what?
my life.
Oh, beautiful. So Rabbi Say, what's fascinating about this sugya is it's based off of sugyas prior. We spent almost a month on the following sugya. Within the world of Kimle B'Derabimine, we pointed out, Tosfos and Ksubis and Daf Lamed, that points out that there are stiras throughout Shas, whether or not the concept of Kimle de Rabimine applies to Misa Lezeh u'Mamon Lezeh. So the Rishonim are struggling, and they don't know how to jive the two. Our Gemara in Sanhedrin says when you have a Misa to this party and a Chi of Mammon to another party, our Gemara says Kimle de Rabimine doesn't apply. The Gemaras in the end of Sanhedrin by a Rodef, the Gemara says, even if you're chayav misa to this guy and you're chayav mammon to a guy on the street while you're driving, again, a guy's running with a knife to kill someone else. As he's running with a knife to kill someone else, or in the car, he crashes into someone else's car. Mamish like the movies. It doesn't happen to Punk be the same guy he's trying to kill that he crashes into someone else's car. So the Gemara says, Kim Leib Derabimine. So Taisus asks, if there's a stira. When there is a bi-destinational kimle b'derabimine, a misa lezeh, a mama lezeh, is there kimle or is there no kimle? So the Riva says the answer is simple. When it comes to Ritzicha, the person that's killing him is the person, that he's damaging, the mammon that he's damaging, also has an obligation to kill him. Because by every case of Rodef, by definition, everyone has a chiyuv to be matzil the nirdaf, or everyone has to carry out bezdin shlichus to punish this rodef. So says the Riva that what? That every case of redifa is a misa umamon lechad. Who's the chad? The person that you're damaging. Why are you chayiv misa to him? Because he's obligated to kill you. So that explained the Gemara of Misa Lezeh from the vantage point of, I am obligated to carry out your Misa. I have to take care of your punishment. I, the representative of Am Yisrael, is a Misa Lezeh. Your life is in my domain. It's like I have a bailus on your life. However, Rabbeinu Tam didn't agree to that. And Rabbeinu Tam took a different approach. And Rabbeinu Tam, I would say, had a more pashut definition of Misa Lezeh. What does it mean, says Rabbeinu Tam? Says Reb Shmuel Rozovsky, Misa Lezeh, argues Reb Shmuel Rozovsky, based on our sugya, the fact that Tosfos calls him a Baal Din, something fascinating. You see, when you're chayiv Misa for being Mechal Shabbos, when you're chayiv Misa for, I don't know, what else are you chayiv Misa for? Chira v'gidav. Good. All those are of Chiyav Misa l'shamayim. Says the Rabbeinu Tam, when a Rotseach gets his Misa, it's a Chiyav bein Adam l'chaveiro. It's a Misa that I'm a Baldin on, that I have a Taina on, and I'm taka pasal leidus. I, the Nirtzach, you owe me your life. And that's what Tosfos means. And that's where Rabbeinu Tam understood Misa Lezeh, not to the one who has to carry out the punishment. But who's the Baldin over here? Mamish, what Tosfos is saying? What Baldin? Who Baldin? No, because if you stabbed me, if you killed me, you owe me your life. And now that Bezdin is carrying out your punishment, they're now carrying out a chiyuv that you owe to that nirtzach. So then you can understand, comes along the Vilna Goyim, and he says, my shna, if you're of a Baldin in Dinei Mominis, or my shna, if you're a Baldin, according to Tosfos and Makis, that you owe him your life. So the Kroivim are going to be posel, because they're korov to not the treifa, they're korov to the Baldin. The Rishonim that understood that the psul of Nirtzach in the Gemara is Havamina, Nirtzach Yatzil is treifa, or Nirtzach Yatzil is Soinei, they must have understood because what? The punishment of Misa Lezeh has nothing to do with owing anything. It's no different than Chira Fegidov. It's no different than Chil Shabbos. There's one of the Aseres HaDibros that says, most you have to get Misa. But not that I owe you that. It's a Chiv. The Rebbeinu Shalom says you have a punishment. Comes along these other Rishonim and are saying, no, Ritzicha is a totally different parsha. We don't have anything like this. Obein Adam L'Chavero Dika Oynesh? This is mind-boggling. Mind-boggling that such a thing can exist. Mind-boggling that it could have ramifications. Whether or not Kimle B'derabimine is going to apply because you're defining the Misa like that. And it's Mamish Pshutuk Mashmo. Misa Lozeh. according to the Riva, it's a very difficult lazeh. It's to that guy who's carrying out the onish. No, the misa lazeh is this, you owe it to me. And that's why Tosfos says it's a baldin. And it's going to have ramifications, la'alacha, legabe, whether or not the kroivim of the nirtzach ultimately can testify about the case. Yeah.
Go back to Kimlet with Rabbi if it's Nisa Lozeh, and it's a fee of mumminus, basically, then if the Ratzayach damages a car on the way, he'd be chayav, because it's,
Saying it's both mummin?
both, might be chayav both mumminus.
No, it's not mummin. I'm just saying it follows, it's avada chiv misa. And we're going to carry out.
How can you apply Kimlet with Rabbi that someone else's mumminus that he injured, that he damaged on the
No,
car?
so the case is that I killed someone, but in the process of killing him, I damaged someone else. So the Gemara is calling that misa lazeh. So if you understand like the Riva, that misa lazeh means the person who's going to save you, and it's dafka when it comes to redifa. But he just says, the Pashup Shah in the Gemara, misa lazeh is for the person you killed. You, just like mammon lazeh, so too the misa, the life is to him.
It makes go like that. Much more.
Yeah, the revenge. Yeah. I hear.
Some passionate, it's much more halakha.
Yeah.
How does it apply to nirba?
To Nirba, it doesn't apply to Nirba. Nirba is one of the other psulim, but that
Ravei and nirba, because that's the Tosfos.
yeah, but Taisus was never, that Taisus and Makas never wanted to say Baldin by Nirba. Yeah. So I really just wanted to talk about one other thing, just to try to squeeze and finish up the sugya, and to really move on past Palgin and Dibura. Hopefully next time we could start Makas, so let's try to move a little quickly. If you remember, the Gemara in the end of the Gemara in Daf Yud, in the end of the Gemara, it's about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 lines down. Amar Rava Ploni Rava Ashur. Amar Rava Ploni Rava Ashur v'huzman neragam mashal mamon shorish Ploni v'huzman neragam mashal mamon. So exactly what we were just talking about. Sorry, let's go to the suffix of the Gemara. Debayi Rava Ploni Rava Shori. I may come into Bezdin and I say with another person that this person was Rovea my shore. It's Chayiv Misa, this person. Mahu. What's the din? Mi amrin an adam karavetzel atzmo ve'ein adam karavetzel mamono. O dilma adam karavetzel mamono. So the Gemara suffix is what? Is a person karav to his mammon. If he's karav to his mammon, then what? So then you have a problem. If he's not karav to his mammon, so then you're okay, so then you can accept it. Basar debaya hadar pashta. So that once the Gemara, they ask the question, then the Gemara resolves it. Adam karav artzel atzmo ve'ein adam karav etzel mamono. A person's karav to himself, and a person's not karav to his mammon. So therefore, what's the din? So Rashi says, Mi amrinan adam karav etzel mamono, upalginan dibura lemehemne achavre v'lo yashor. Do we split it up and say that he's karav to his mammon, and therefore we're going to split the edus up and only accept his edus on his friend? Or no, what? Do we say that we're not going to involve palgina dibura here, and therefore what? Hadar pashta. Lo amrinan adam karav etzel mamono le'inyan palgina dibura. V'hashor yisakel, and just like the person is accepted legabe his friend that he was roveya, so too we're going to actually kill the shore as well. So I don't understand. So the Gemara says, so you don't say palgina dibura. So I don't understand. So at the end of the day, but how do you say ein adam karav etzel mamono? Aren't you, once again, a nogeya b'davar? Don't you have negias? Aren't you speaking about your own assets over here? Why are you kosher? So maybe you're not karav, but you're nogeya. Can you speak about? Okay, fine, but so fine. So you're a nogeya. Should be possible because you're a nogeya.
But you're losing your own.
Oh, excellent. Comes along the Tumim, Rabbi Yonasan Eibeshitz in his Sefer Urim v'Tumim in Choshen Mishpat. And he says, this is the source for a major debate amongst the poskim. Let's say I walk into Bezdin and I want to be an aid about my assets, that I have tremendous nigias about, but I'm made lichovasi, to my detriment. Is it kosher or pasul? So one, the Tumim says, you see from Rashi that this psul does not exist in such a scenario. What would be the rationale to argue such a thing? Because the Nosei Kelim, and this is a fundamental debate throughout Shulchan Aruch, and we're going to have it later in Sanhedrin again. Machlokas Rishonim with the Machlokas Achronim with the Machlokas Apoiskim. What is the psul nogeya when I'm talking about my assets that it has negiyas towards me? Some poskim say it's just a chashash meshaker. When you have something that's relevant to you, so you're going to be meshaker. But if I'm saying it to my detriment, so I lose the chashash meshaker, I'm saying what is not relevant, what is not beneficial to me. So then you don't have a psul. A chashash meshaker is not a psul. He's not a gazlan. He's not someone that's going to ruin the whole kat. It's just when he's being made for his benefit. We can't accept his edus because he's a chashash meshaker. So maybe Rashi held that a nogeya with a chashash meshaker is pasul when he's being made for his benefit. And therefore I can accept his edus about his shor when it's hashor yisakil. Whereas if you remember, the Ravid had a different conclusion to this Gemara. What was the Ravid's conclusion to this Gemara? If you look at the Ravid in the Rambam, and we don't have, I think we even have it here, but I'll just say it outside. The Ravid understood, based on his shita from the Russian Makkas, Palgin and Dibura doesn't mean we cut and paste and we cut off all the psule edus, and it would apply to even my sister and to my and to everyone and all the krovim. Just accept this and don't accept that. Says the Ravid, no, that's not the way it works. There's no cutting and pasting. Says the Ravid, when I'm talking about myself, then I don't have an aid. I don't have a shame aid when I talk about myself. It never even registered in Bezdin when I talk about myself and I refer to myself. So it's like all I said in Bezdin was Ploni Rava. You didn't say that. You said Ploni Rava Osi. No, but there is no Eidos by Osi. So says the Ravid, because otherwise every Eidos in is Bala Miksasa Bala Kula. The whole concept of Palgina Dibura, says the Ravid, makes no sense. Our whole sugya makes no sense. Says the Ravid, that's the answer. Because when you're talking about yourself, then it was never registered in court. So therefore, says the Ravid, that's exactly what the Gemara was trying to decipher when I talk about my wife. Is that talking about myself? We said it's a beautiful Sheva Brachos Torah without the background. Because I'm talking about Ploni Baal Ishti, Adam Karav Eitzel Ishto. It doesn't mean that I'm related to my wife. Avada, I'm related to my wife. Everyone knows I'm related to my wife. I'm one with my wife. And therefore, when I talk about my wife, it's as if you didn't register as Eidus. And that's what the Gemara says. Adam Karav Eitzel Ishto, Pagina Dibura. Now the Gemara has a shaila. It says, what about Adam Karav Eitzel Mamono? When I talk about my mammon, is it myself? Can you apply Palgina Dibura? And the Gemara says what? Avadi, you can't apply Palgina Dibura. And you what? You're not a Karav Eitzel Mamono. That doesn't mean that you're not puzzle from your mammon. It means we can't view it as if yourself. We can't view it as one like your wife. You and your nechasim, says the Ravid, have to be split away from each other. A Musar Haskell, says the Ravid. You shouldn't have your whole life's existence based on your nechasim. Ein Adam Karav Eitzel Mamono. Trust me, says the Ravid, you're puzzled to be made about your nechasim. And whether it's to the benefit, whether it's to the detriment, you're not allowed to talk about your nechasim. You're a karov to your nechasim. You're just not a karov lenient palgin and dibura. And that's why the Ravid Lishitoso in the Yad on the Mishnah Torah says, not like Rashi La'alocha. He argues with the Rambam. He says, Ploni Baal Shairi. Ploni's not even killed. Why is Ploni not killed? Rashi didn't even entertain that possibility. Why is Ploni not even killed? Because if you're not a karov to yourself, then it's Eidos Shabbat Mitzvah Balakula. Half of your Eidos is bad. You're talking about your shore. That Avadi you're a karov to. Avadi you're a puzzle to. You're just not a karov to the extent that we can now even apply Palgin and Dibur as if your Eidos didn't register. No, when it comes to your mammon, your Eidos did register. And your Eidos is an invalid Eidos. And Memela, since it was connected to a statement about Ploni, we don't accept the statement about Ploni either, because that's an invalid statement. The only time we apply Palgin and Dibura is when you talk about yourself, or you talk about your wife, and Lamaskona, not when you talk about your shore. Im Kain, 1 second, Im Kain.
Because that means what? You're saying, Ein Adam Koraves Mamono.
Ein Adam Koraves Mamono, but in the story of Palgin and Dibura.
Well, the Gabe, it's not him.
Yeah, exactly. The Gemara sounds like Ein Adam Karev Eitzel Mamono, so therefore it's going to help him, says the Ravid. That's going to invalidate the Eidus. Because Karev means something else over here. So that's the way the Ravid understands Lamaskana. What's going to happen with his Eidus? The whole Eidus is thrown out. You can't even apply Pagin and Dibura. But that's also going to have ramifications Legabe our Shailim, the Poskim, of a Negias. According to the Ravid, the Gemara never said a Negias Lichovaso is not a Negias. That's only in the world of Rashi. In the world of Ravid, there might be that if a person talks about his assets, whether it's to his detriment, whether it's to his benefit, it's invalid Eidos. You can't talk about your Nechasim. Says the Tumim, that's going to be the other Shita. A person is a Karev to his Nechasim. That's the din in the Paiskim. Is a Negei apostle because of Chash Meshaker, and therefore it's only when it's to his benefit. That's the way Rashi L'chora would understand. And the Ravid would understand, no, a person's Karev to his Nechasim. Even though the Gemara actually said the opposite, a person's not Karev to his Nechasim, but the Ravid says, yeah, obviously the Gemara was talking about in the Palgin and Dibura world, where a Karev means yourself. But when the Gemara concludes that a person is not a Karev to his Mammon, but rather he's just the old type of Psul Karev, and that's the answer to Taisus Kasha. Taisus at the top of the Taf. Taisus says, the Gemara had a suffix like Abe Ishto. So Taisus says, Afal Gav the Mastisan he bezeh borer, the Balki Ishto linyan Edus. What do you mean? You have a suffix whether or not a person's Karev to his wife? Taisus is struggling with this. How does the Gemara have a Havamina, a person not related to his wife? We have other Mishnayos that say a Karev. Right? It says that's not what the Gemara meant. Everyone knew that you're related to your wife, and everyone knew about all the psulim of relatives. We had a specific sugya legabe palgin and dibura. What I'm pointing out now is that this is also going to have ramifications to a fundamental shaila throughout Choshen Mishpat, whether or not the psul nogeya is that a chash mishaker or is that a psul karov, and therefore does it have ramifications when you're being made to your detriment? Yeah. So Hodas Baldin, Kemeya Edim Dami, is not Midin Edis, meaning the Ktsoy says that Hodas Baldin might be Hischayvus. It's an Amonis that you're Mechayev, and the Torah says Ki Huzeh that he's made himself, but that doesn't have Psule Edis to it. It's a Hischayvus. Is Edis. Is Edis. I can only kill him if he's an Eid. I can't, in Dinei Nefashos, it has to be registered in terms of Edus. So therefore the Ravid says, I cut that out, and I didn't accept that. But in terms of Dinei Mamanis, the Chiddush HaTorah is that there's certain times when a person is mischayev himself, it's a din in the Paiskim. Why Hodas Baldin is Neman? Either it's Midin Nehmonos or Midin Eschayvis, but however you slice it, it's not the classic Dinei Edus, and it wouldn't be possible, because otherwise you would never be Neman to be made by yourself. The Ravid and Rashi is about our machlokes. About. I'm just saying that it's going to be the machlokes, the Marival and the Shach and all the Poskim. What?
You have to know then. I mean, there's no specific way to know that you're touching up Baldin in this very.
Right. It's not muchach from here. It's at all. It's just the Tumim points out that you would allow within these. He suggests that that's Shitas Rashi, because at the end of the day, what's Rashi saying? You're at the end of the Negeya. So his answer, his solution for Rashi is Rashi might have held that like that side in the poskim that it's only possible mitzad chashash meshaker. If so, okay, so then I can accept it. I'm just pointing out that if you take the other way to read the Gemara, like the Ravid, so you would come out not like that, and you might have a source for the other poskim in terms of that major shaila of Negiyas. Okay, Yeshakayach. Are we? The guys are coming. Okay, great. Yeah.